This narrative is a character string generated by an AI, large language model, statistically arranging words, and its truthfulness has not been verified. Such outputs without basis are called hallucinations. While confabulation more accurately reflects reality than hallucination, we follow convention. Therefore, the content described has no relation whatsoever to any real persons, organizations, nations, or events. This narrative is a character string generated by an AI, large language model, statistically arranging words, and its truthfulness has not been verified. Such outputs without basis are called hallucinations. While confabulation more accurately reflects reality than hallucination, we follow convention. Therefore, the content described has no relation whatsoever to any real persons, organizations, nations, or events. Shadow Diplomacy. 2 Abductions. Chapter 1. The UN Stage. 2026, United Nations Headquarters in New York. The world was still reeling from the aftermath of what the U.S. called the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, an incident Venezuela termed an abduction. On the night of January 3rd, Delta Force raided Caracas, seized Maduro, and imprisoned him in a federal detention center in New York. President Trump praised this as the execution of justice and openly declared it was to secure oil interests. Meanwhile, Mao Ning, spokeswoman for China's foreign ministry, positioned the incident as an act of imperialist barbarism and called on the international community to condemn it. A special session of the UN General Assembly. Mao stood at the podium, gripping the microphone with a sharp gaze, and began speaking in clear English. The United States has once again flagrantly violated international law. The capture of President Nicolás Maduro is a blatant infringement on sovereignty. Using military force to abduct a head of state and indain him under the guise of a trial, this is nothing but the ghost of colonialism. It is an invasion aimed at Venezuela's oil, threatening world peace. China strongly condemns this. The international community must unite against such hegemony. Scattered applause erupted. Representatives from China, Russia, and Iran nodded enthusiastically. Meanwhile, at the U.S. delegation seats, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt sat with her arms crossed, looking displeased. As soon as Mao's speech ended, Leavitt stood up and headed toward the podium without permission. The UN chair tried to stop her in a panic, but Leavitt ignored them, her heels clicking, and seized the microphone. "Hold on, Mao. Did you say abduction? Give me a break. Maduro is a narco-terrorist. We executed justice, plain and simple. We're liberating the Venezuelan people and managing their oil properly. That's America's role. But what about you? Don't lecture us while hiding your own shameless actions." The hall buzzed. Leavitt's voice was sharp and provocative. She pointed at Mao, leaning forward with her hair flying. In 1995, China abducted a boy who was the future of Tibetan Buddhism, Gedem Choki Nyima, the 11th Panchen Lama. Just a 6-year-old child, taken with his family, missing for 30 years. That's not protection, it's pure kidnapping. You're controlling the Dalai Lama's succession by turning religion into a political tool. Your country suppresses Tibet and erases its culture. The world should condemn this, and I'm condemning it right now. Return Gedem. Prioritize human rights over your Belt and Road. Mao's face flushed red. She stood up from her seat, approached the podium, and raised her voice in English. The two women glared at each other across the microphone, like a catfight on the verge of hair-pulling. Levitt knocked Mao's hand off the microphone, and Levitt took Levitt's microphone. The hall was engulfed in chaos as cameras captured their direct confrontation. A Russian representative tried to mediate, but no one listened. In the lounge after the session, Mao and Levitt unexpectedly met one-on-one. Without interpreters, a secret conversation began directly in English. Mao straightened her hair and directed a calm gaze at Levitt. "Levitt, my condemning is serious, but there's room for a deal. Release Maduro and China will cooperate on Venezuela's oil development. We'll even favor American companies." Levitt smirked and replied while polishing her nails. "Interesting offer, Mao, but my condemning is serious too. Release Gedem Choki Nima. Grant a bit of autonomy to Tibet, and we'll stay quiet on your Taiwan policy. Deal?" Mao narrowed her eyes. "That's impossible. Panchen Lama is China's internal affair. But if the U.S. stops supporting the Tibetan government in exile, we might share some information." The two didn't shake hands, but the atmosphere in the room softened slightly. Outside, the media reported the two abduction cases as mirror images between great powers. Maduro fought in New York's courtroom, while Gedem was forced into silence in the darkness of Tibet. The world continued to be manipulated by these two shadows. Epilogue: Eternal condemnation. Months later, Maduro's trial was suspended through political deals. Gedem's location remained unknown. Mao and Levitt repeated their mutual condemnations while secretly joining hands behind the scenes. In the fiction of international politics, justice is always the product of double standards. The shadows never disappear. They only change form.